take off? Maybe summarized quickly.
Well, we have a full pre-flight checklist that we have to do. Before we even get to the airplane, we have a safety analysis we do for the airport that we're taking off of, the airport we're going to. It takes into account the weather conditions at both places, the runway conditions at both places, mountainous terrain, if it's a foreign airport or an airport that we haven't been to in the last 3 years. And then we have a litany of pre-flight checks that we have to do to make sure that the airplane is airworthy. And that takes a good 20-25 minutes to run through all the safety checks. Even after we get the passengers on board and get the engines running, we still have another few minutes of safety checks we have to do with the engines running to make sure all those...
What's it for maybe a plane like this? I don't know if maybe you could disclose this, but what is the cost for one flight hour, you'd say?
That is above my purview.
Right, yeah. How old is this plane?
This airplane was built in 1996. We took delivery of it in early 1997.
All right. So probably the main topic of my inquiry is on safety measures. What are some of the safety measures, physical safety measures, mechanical safety measures that are in place sort of to keep the plane from not crashing or coming down?
Most of that's in the pilots and the mechanics.
Right.
We do yearly training on each airplane, so every 6 months we go to annual training for the airplane. We go down to either Wichita, Kansas, or Tucson, Arizona, to do annual training. We do a lot of engine out procedures. We do electrical problems, hydraulic problems, do all the stuff that we hope we never see in the airplane, but if we do, we're not surprised by it, we're more prepared for it. The mechanics that take care of the airplanes, they have calendar items that have to be done. They also have hourly items that have to be done, or if we bring the airplane back and something's not working quite right, then it's their job to kind of mitigate that and try to figure out what's wrong and fix it.
Yeah.
The heavy fog season, which is usually early spring, with all the snow melting in a lot of places, that fog can present a real issue with whether we're trying to get in and out of airports.
Okay. Maybe one of the most interesting questions would be, have you ever had any safety scares while you were flying, or anything that maybe like some really bad weather or something like that?
I had a pressurization problem in one of our airplanes coming back from South Carolina. We had a small pressurization leak that we had to descend down to a safer altitude. It wasn't real bad, but it was enough to cause us enough concern that we descended to a lower altitude, so we were closer to breathable air in case it did decide to let go. I hit a corner of a thunderstorm coming out of Mexico once that we ran through some hail, and it was interesting for 30 seconds, but it was one of the longest 30 seconds of my life. And then all the way back to my primary training when I was just learning how to fly, I had in a piston airplane, I had one of the valves in the engine let go, and I had to make a forced landing onto, luckily I was right next to the airport when it happened, so I was able to make a forced landing right there at the airport.
Good. Was it in this plane or that plane? Or
no, this was way back 20-some years ago when I was just first learning how to fly. But our airplanes have never really had an issue where I really thought I was in peril.
I'll ask one final question because it does have to be a shorter project. Do you know what the most common fault or accident that a plane might have that would cause it to maybe have a forced landing, or maybe the most common issue that happens? Like weather or
a lot of come up where you see accidents or incidents is weather or pilot error in the fact that they're not prepared for the situation, or just don't have the experience to deal with the emergency that's put in front of them, and then they make the wrong decisions, and then they just keep making the wrong decisions to the point where they end up crashing, or they get into a weather situation where they're putting the airplane and themselves in a position that they're not capable of completing the approach. had an accident, or not we, as an industry, there was an accident in Canton, Ohio here a little about a year and a half ago where a Hawker, which is the other airplane that we own, got too slow. They came down on an approach to an airport and they got too slow and they ended up stalling the airplane and crashing it.
Oh, wow.
Six people in the back and then the two pilots up front killed everybody. That was a lack of the pilots not working together very well, a lot of confusion in the cockpit about what was going on, what approach they were doing. And to me that goes down to more of a professional level between the two pilots and their training, because it should have never gotten that far. In our department, if there's any question what's going on, it's one of those, hey, let's step back, make sure we know what's going on. If we have to, we'll tell the controllers we need to stop and hold for a minute to get all our ducks in a row. Just to make sure that we're both, both guys are thinking the same thing, we're both on the same page, and there is no confusion in what's going forward as we get closer to the ground, because gravity's constant. We are going to come down and hit the ground eventually, and we'd like to get to the ground on a runway at the airport we intended to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It was really good talking to you.
All right. Checklist. Red items are real bad, need to be handled expeditiously, and then the amber ones are more status issues or problems, abnormal problems.
Like what would be a red problem?
Red problem is engine failure.
Oh, that's bad.
Engine fire are two big ones. Smoke in the cockpit, pressurization problems. Bleed air problems, if we have to ditch the airplane in the ocean, emergency evacuation, electrical problems, if we go down to just emergency power only, if we lose both generators on the airplane, flight control problems, fuel, landing gear problems is another big one. We got sensors in the wheel wells, so if the tires get too hot, we can get a main landing gear bay overheat, and then another big one is if the passenger door comes open. That's gonna be a real bad problem.
Well, this is all Milwaukee Approach Airspace. Ripon Airspace is the northern sector. It's from the ground all the way up to 13,000. And it's, for example, this is Sheboygan, to give you a point of reference. This is the Lakeshore. Okay, so he's talking to 1 kilo over there. Kilo is landing Midway. So Midway's not necessarily close, but because of all the O'Hare flow, they want him low.
Did